The year was 2481, and Earth had finally found peace after centuries of conflict. The nations were united under one council, the Earth Union, and humanity had learned to live together. But peace never stayed forever. When the first alien ship appeared above the moon, everyone thought it was a message of friendship. They were wrong. The aliens called themselves the Varnies, a tall, silver-skinned species that spoke with voices like static. At first, they talked about trade and exploration, but their real interest was in control. When Earth refused to hand over control of its colonies on Mars and Titan, the Varnies decided that humanity was too proud for its own good. They began their attacks quietly, disabling satellites, crashing ships, and cutting off communication lines. In Seoul, Commander Han Dae-hyun stood before the main holographic screen in the Earth Defense Center. The map of the solar system glowed in blue and red, showing where human fleets had been ambushed. Around him, officers worked in silence. Everyone could feel the tension, like a storm waiting to break. Beside him stood Lieutenant Kim Hanol, one of the youngest officers in command room, but also one of the sharpest minds in strategy. "They are testing us again," Hanol said, her voice calm but heavy. 2 more cargo ships lost near Jupiter's orbit. Dae-hyun clenched his jaw. "And the Council still wants to pretend it's not war." "The Council wants peace," she replied. He looked at her. Peace requires both sides to want it. On the screen, another red dot blinked out. A human ship gone. Everyone knew what that meant. The Varnies didn't declare war. They didn't need to. They just acted. And Earth kept responding with diplomacy and patience. But patience had its limits. In the middle of the Pacific, hidden under the ocean, the Global Research Facility was running a project called Phoenix. It was supposed to be a defensive system, one that could protect the planet without violence. But many whispered that it was something much more powerful. Dr. Park Ji-hoon, the lead scientist, had been working on it for years, using a mix of human engineering and recovered alien tech from earlier encounters. In his lab, Ji-hoon looked at the glowing sphere floating in the center of the room. It was humming softly, pulsing with white light. "If they force our hand," he murmured, "this will end everything." Beside him, Assistant Lee Soare adjusted the control panel. "Sir, are you sure it's stable?" Ji-hoon sighed. "Nothing this powerful is ever stable. But if Earth needs it, we'll use it." Meanwhile, in orbit, the Earth Defense Fleet prepared for another patrol. Captain Kong Min-soo commanded the battleship Daeon, one of the largest ships in human space. He had seen 3 battles with the Varnies and lost too many friends. His crew respected him because he never gave up. Even when orders from the Council were unclear, the communication screen flickered. It was Commander Han. "Captain Kong, your fleet will patrol near Saturn. We've lost too many ships in that region." Min-soo nodded. "Understood. If we see them, do we engage?" Han hesitated for a moment. "No, not yet. Record everything. Don't fire first." Min-soo wanted to argue, but he knew the orders. Earth still wanted to appear calm, diplomatic, polite, even as ships burned in silence across the void. Days passed, and the situation grew worse. Colonies began to panic. People feared the Varnies might invade Earth itself. In the council chamber, the leaders of the Earth Union argued endlessly. Some demanded retaliation. Others wanted more negotiation. Only one person spoke with both anger and reason, Admiral Shinyura, head of Earth's defense forces. She was known for her quiet strength and her loyalty to the people, not the politicians. "They keep killing our people," she said firmly, "and we keep asking for peace. How long do we wait before we act?" The senator replied, "If we strike, they'll destroy us." Yura leaned forward. "If we don't strike, they'll destroy us anyway." The room fell silent. Everyone knew she was right. Humanity had faced extinction before: wars, famine, disease, and always survived. But this time was different. This enemy wasn't human. They didn't care about mercy or negotiation. That night, Commander Han met with Admiral Yura privately. He respected her more than anyone in the council. "Admiral," he said, "the Phoenix Project. Is it ready?" She didn't answer at first. "Dr. Park says it can be activated if necessary." "And the risk?" "He says it could end the war or end us." Han looked down. "Maybe that's a risk we'll have to take." In orbit near Saturn, Captain Kang's fleet detected movement. Varney's ships, 10 of them, closing in fast. He gave orders instantly. "All ships, defensive formation. Keep distance, record their movements." The Varney ships didn't respond to signals. They opened fire without warning. Plasma bolts tore through space. striking 2 human ships before they could react. The Dahan shook violently as explosions lit the void. "Shields at 40%, shouted Ensign Park June. "Return fire," Kong yelled. "But the orders." "I said fire." Missiles streaked through the dark, hitting 2 enemy ships and tearing them apart. The battle lasted only minutes, but when it ended, 4 human ships were gone and 3 alien vessels destroyed. It was the bloodiest clash yet. When word reached Earth, chaos followed. The Council met again, shouting and blaming, but Admiral Yura made her move. She addressed all of humanity through a global broadcast. "This is Admiral Shin Yura of Earth Defense Command," she said. Her voice was calm but full of power. "For months we have been attacked. We asked for peace. We showed patience. But patience is not weakness. From this moment forward, any attack on humanity will be met with total force. Stop attacking, or we'll stop pretending to be polite." The message spread across every screen on Earth, on Mars, on every human colony. People cheered. For the first time, humanity stopped being afraid. They were ready to fight back. In space, the Varnese fleet received the transmission. Their leader, the cold and calculating Commander Tal, watched silently. "So," he said, "the humans have finally found their courage." His second-in-command asked, "Should we respond?" Tal smiled faintly. "Yes. Show them what courage costs." Back on Earth, Commander Han looked at the night sky from the Defense Center balcony. He could see the faint lights of ships orbiting above. He knew what was coming. The war had begun, and this time, humanity wouldn't stand by. The Earth was done pretending to be polite. He whispered quietly to himself, "Let them come. We'll show them what humans are made of." The days after Admiral Shin Yura's warning were filled with silence, but it was not peace. The Varnese stopped their small attacks, as if studying humanity's reaction. Earth held its breath, waiting for what would happen next. Commander Han Daehyun knew it was only a matter of time before the next strike came. He spent most nights in the Defense Center, watching the stars through the giant glass windows. The whole planet seemed to be holding its breath. Lieutenant Kim Hanul entered the command room with a data tablet in her hands. "Commander, Captain Kang's fleet has returned from Saturn's orbit. They brought wreckage from the Varnese ships." Han looked up. "Any survivors?" "None. The aliens left no bodies behind, only fragments. But Dr. Park says the wreckage could help us understand their energy systems." Han nodded slowly. "Good. Tell Dr. Park to work fast. We don't have much time." In the deep ocean facility, Dr. Park Ji-hoon and his assistant Lee Soare examined the twisted metal pieces that once belonged to a Varnese fighter. The alien alloy was dark and smooth, like glass that bent light. Ji-hoon used a laser cutter to open a small section, revealing glowing blue veins inside. Soare stared in awe. "It's alive," she whispered. Ji-hoon frowned. "Not alive, but something close. Their technology grows instead of being built. They merge machine with organic matter." She stepped back uneasily. "So they use living machines to fight?" He nodded. "Yes. And they see our machines as primitive toys." She was silent for a while. "Do you think the Phoenix Project can stop them?" Ji-hoon turned to her, eyes tired but determined. "If we finish it in time." "Yes. It's not just a weapon. It's a message. It tells the universe that humanity won't bow again." Meanwhile, in orbit above Earth, Captain Kong Min-soo and his crew were repairing the Dahan. The battle scars were still visible across the ship's hull. Kong walked through the hangar, watching engineers work on damaged drones. He could still hear the screams of the last battle in his head. Ensign Park June approached him. "Sir, message from Earth Command. They want us ready for another deployment." Kong nodded slowly. "They won't let us rest long." "What's our mission?" "To protect the transport fleet heading to Titan Colony. Supplies, medicine, and civilians." Kang's jaw tightened. "That's a soft target. The Varnese will come." "Should I tell Command we're not ready?" "No," Kong said firmly. "Tell them we'll go. If Titan falls, we lose half our outer colonies." A few days later, the transport fleet left Earth's orbit, surrounded by 5 warships. The Dahan led the formation through the black void. For hours, nothing happened. Then, near the edge of Saturn's rings, the alarms began to scream. "Multiple contacts," shouted the sensor officer. 6 Varnese ships, closing fast. Kang's eyes hardened. All ships, defensive pattern Delta. Keep the transport behind us. The Varnese ships appeared out of nowhere, moving with impossible speed. Their weapons glowed like blue lightning as they fired. Explosions lit up the darkness. The Dahan shuddered as it took a hit, but Kong refused to retreat. "Return fire," he ordered. Human missiles streaked through the void. One enemy ship broke apart, but the rest kept coming. They moved like predators, circling and striking again and again. On one of the transport ships, a young civilian mother held her child, watching as flashes of light filled the sky. The war wasn't far anymore. It was right there, outside their windows. Back on Earth, Commander Han received the battle reports in real time. He clenched his fists as he saw the casualty numbers rise. "How many ships lost?" "2," Hanul said quietly. "But they saved the transports." The Varnese retreated. Han exhaled slowly. "They're testing our limits again. They want to see how far we'll go." In the council chamber, politicians were again divided. Some wanted to surrender parts of Mars to avoid war. Others demanded to use Phoenix immediately. Admiral Ura stood before them, calm but cold. "You still think negotiation will save us? Look outside. The war has already started." A senator stood up angrily. "You're risking all of humanity." Ura's eyes flashed. "No, you are risking it by doing nothing." That night, she met Commander Han privately again. "The Council won't approve Phoenix," she said. Han frowned. "Then we'll act without them." She raised an eyebrow. "That's mutiny." "It's survival." Ura thought for a long time, then nodded slowly. "Then I'll need proof that the Varnese are planning full invasion. Find me something the Council can't deny." Han knew what that meant. He would have to send someone into enemy territory. The next day, he called Lieutenant Hanul to his office. "You're going on a special mission," he told her. Her eyes widened. "Where to?" "To the outer asteroid belt. We've detected a Varnese base there. I need confirmation." She hesitated. "That's a suicide mission." "I know," Han said quietly. "But if you succeed, you might save billions." Hanul straightened and saluted. "I'll go, sir." A small stealth ship, the Habit, left Earth hours later, carrying Hanul and a crew of 6. They traveled in silence, hiding behind asteroids, scanning space for Varnese signals. On the 4th day, they found it, a massive structure built into an asteroid, glowing with blue lights. Hundreds of Varnese ships surrounded it like a hive. The pilot whispered, "My God, that's an invasion fleet." Hanul recorded everything. "Get the data sent to Earth immediately." But before they could leave, an alarm blared. The Varnese had detected them. "Evasive maneuvers," she shouted. The ship shook as energy blasts flew past. One hit the rear engines, sending the Habit spinning. Fire spread across the control deck. The pilot screamed, "We're hit! We're going down!" Hanul grabbed the data drive. "Launch the escape pod. Get the data home." The co-pilot looked at her in shock. "You're coming too." She shook her head. "There's no time. Go." She shoved the pod's release button, sending it flying into space. Seconds later, the Habit exploded in a blinding flash. The escape pod continued through the void, its automated beacon pulsing weakly toward Earth. 3 days later, the pod was found near Mars orbit. Commander Han watched the video recording in silence. It showed the massive Varnese base, the ships, the energy readings, all proof of an invasion. He turned to Admiral Ura. "This is it. They're coming." Ura looked at him grimly. "Then we use Phoenix." In the deep-sea facility, Dr. Park stood before the glowing core of the Phoenix project. Its light had changed from white to golden, humming with a new rhythm. Soare stood beside him, nervous. "Are we really doing this?" she asked. He nodded. "We have no choice." "What if it destroys Earth too?" He looked at the core, eyes full of both hope and fear. "Then at least we'll go down fighting." Above them, in orbit, Captain Kang's fleet was ordered to hold position near Earth. He looked out the window at the blue planet below. "We're really doing it," he whispered. "No turning back now." As Earth prepared for the inevitable, the Varnese leader, Commander Tal, watched the human transmissions from his command ship. He smiled coldly. "They have spirit," he said. "Let's crush it." His fleet began to move toward the inner planets, thousands of ships lighting up the dark. Humanity's final war had begun. The invasion began at dawn over Asia. From the sky, glowing streaks appeared like falling stars, but they were not stars. They were Varney's dropships entering the atmosphere. In minutes, the world changed. Cities that had been peaceful only hours ago were suddenly under attack. The sky is filled with fire. Commander Han Dae-hyun stood in the Earth Defense Center, his face pale but steady. The sound of alarms echoed through the room. "Report," he shouted. Lieutenant Kim Hanul was gone, and her loss weighed heavy on him. But there was no time to grieve. A young officer replied, "Multiple impacts over Seoul, Tokyo, and Shanghai. Enemy ships landing in the Pacific and near the Korean coast." Han gritted his teeth. "Activate all defense systems. Scramble every interceptor. No one holds back." Above Earth, Captain Kong Minsu's fleet moved into formation. The Varney's armada had arrived, thousands of ships blocking out the stars. The Daehan shook as shock waves from the enemy fleet passed through it. "Target nearest ships." Kong ordered, "Fire all batteries." Lasers and missiles filled the void. The sky burned as human and alien ships clashed. The Dian's gunners fired relentlessly, their faces lit by the glow of explosions. One Varney's battleship exploded in a brilliant flash, scattering debris across space. But for every alien ship destroyed, two more appeared. On the ocean floor, Dr. Park Ji-hoon and Lee Soare worked frantically inside the Phoenix facility. The core was ready but unstable. It pulsed with light so bright that it filled the entire chamber. The control systems warned of overheating, but Ji-hoon ignored it. "Increase the containment field to maximum." Soare's voice trembled. "Sir, if the energy breaches, it could destroy us all." He didn't look up. "If we don't activate it, the world ends anyway." Above them, Seoul was burning. Han watched from the command center's live feed as alien ground troops advanced through the city. They moved like shadows, tall and silver, their weapons cutting through tanks and defense lines. Human soldiers fought bravely, but the difference in power was too great. Admiral Shin Yura entered the command room, her uniform covered in dust. "Commander Han, status?" "We're losing the cities," Han said quietly. "They're everywhere." She nodded grimly. "Then it's time." Han looked at her. "Phoenix." "Yes," she said. "Prepare for activation." In the lab, Dr. Park received the signal. He hesitated for a moment, staring at the glowing sphere. "May God forgive us," he whispered. He placed his hand on the console and entered the activation code. The entire facility shook. The sphere expanded, filling the chamber with golden light. Energy readings climbed higher than anything humans had ever recorded. Across the planet, every satellite and power grid flickered. At the same time, Captain Kang's fleet began to fall back toward Earth. The enemy was pushing hard. The Dian's hull was cracked, half its weapons destroyed. "We can't hold them much longer." Ensign Park Jun shouted. Kong looked at the blue planet below. "We just need to hold them long enough. Phoenix will handle the rest." Moments later, a blinding light erupted from beneath the Pacific Ocean. It grew brighter and brighter until it engulfed the entire horizon. Every ship, every station, every camera in space captured it. The Phoenix Project had awakened. The light spread across the Earth's magnetic field, forming a massive golden shield. The first wave of Varney's ships that entered the atmosphere disintegrated instantly, their hulls melting like wax. The invasion paused as confusion spread among the alien ranks. Commander Tal watched from his flagship. His expression changed from amusement to alarm. "What is that?" His science officer replied. "Unknown energy field, sir. It's surrounding the entire planet." Tal narrowed his eyes. "It's a weapon." Back on Earth, people came out of shelters and bunkers, staring up at the sky. The blue glow of death had vanished, replaced by a golden aurora dancing across the clouds. Children pointed at it, thinking it was beautiful, not realizing it was a shield protecting them. But inside the facility, Dr. Park was collapsing. The energy output was beyond control. It's too much. SORA screamed. The core is overloading. I can stabilize it, he shouted. Try to adjust the settings. His fingers flew across the console. Sparks flew as the machines overloaded. The temperature kept rising. The intercom crackled. It was Commander Han's voice. Dr. Park, is it working? Park answered, his voice weak. Yes, but it's burning itself out. Han's voice softened. Do what you must. The world owes you everything. Park smiled faintly. Then let's make it count. He overrode the safety limits. The Phoenix core exploded with light. Instead of destroying the facility, the energy expanded outward, linking with the planet's magnetic poles. A wave of electromagnetic force shot into space, striking the alien fleet. Ships shut down one after another, their systems fried by the surge. In orbit, Captain Kong watched as Varney's ships drifted powerless. It's working, shouted Ensign Park. Finish them off. Kong yelled, target disabled ships. The Daehan fired one last barrage, destroying 3 enemy cruisers. Across the solar system, human forces counterattacked. Mars colonies launched defense drones, and lunar cannons opened fire on retreating Varney's ships. For the first time, humanity was winning, but the victory came at a price. Deep beneath the ocean, the Phoenix chamber was collapsing. Water began to flood through the cracked walls. SORA tried to pull Dr. Park away from the console. We have to go. He shook his head. If I leave, it'll fail. Go, SORA, save yourself. Tears filled her eyes. I can't leave you. You must, he said softly. Someone has to tell them what we did here. She hesitated, then ran toward the escape tunnel. Behind her, the light grew brighter. The last thing she heard was Ji-hoon's voice whispering, for Earth. Then the explosion came. The Phoenix facility was gone, replaced by a crater at the bottom of the ocean. But its energy shield remained, protecting the planet like a golden guardian. When the light finally faded, the skies cleared. Alien ships burned as they entered the atmosphere. The survivors turned back toward deep space. Commander Tall watched his fleet disintegrate, his face filled with rage. This isn't over, he hissed. The humans will pay for this. On Earth, silence returned. Commander Han stood on the balcony of the defense center, watching the sun rise. The sky still shimmered faintly with gold. Admiral Yura stood beside him, her face calm but heavy with loss. Dr. Park is gone, Han said quietly. Yura nodded. He saved us all. Han looked out at the horizon. Do you think it's really over? She shook her head. No, they'll come again. But next time we'll be ready. At that moment, a transmission came through, weak, static-filled, but unmistakable. It was SORA's voice from an emergency pod drifting near the coast. This is Lee Sor. Phoenix is complete. The shield will hold for 1 year. After that, we'll need to rebuild. Han looked at Yura, realization dawning. 1 year, that's all we have. Yura nodded slowly. Then we use it well. In orbit, Captain Kong watched Earth turn below him, glowing like a jewel in the darkness. The war had paused, but not ended. Humanity had survived its first great trial, and now everyone knew what they were capable of. Months passed after the Phoenix light had saved the world. The golden shield still shimmered faintly across the sky, protecting Earth from the cold darkness above. Humanity began to rebuild. Cities rose again from ashes, and people returned to the places they once fled. The memory of war was still fresh, but life was slowly finding a way forward. Commander Han Dae-hyun stood on the balcony of a new Earth Defense Center, watching construction drones fly over Seoul. The city was quieter now, but the people were working harder than ever. Admiral Shin Yura walked beside him, holding a digital report in her hands. The shield's power is dropping, she said softly. Dr. Park's calculations were right. It will fade in less than a year. Han nodded. And we still don't understand how to rebuild it. She sighed. SORA is working on it, but without Ji-hoon, it's difficult. His research was destroyed in an explosion. Han looked toward the ocean, where the Phoenix facility had once been. Then we'll find another way. We always do. Lee SORA had survived the destruction and was now leading the Phoenix restoration team. She lived in a small underwater base with dozens of scientists, studying the fragments of the old core. Every day she felt Ji-hoon's absence like a shadow behind her. His words still echoed in her mind. If we fail, at least we'll go down fighting. She spent long hours in the lab, testing samples of the golden residue that covered the seabed. It pulsed faintly, still alive. There's something in this, she said to her assistant, Kong Hee-jin. It reacts to emotion, not electricity. Ji-hoon once said it was semi-conscious energy. Hee-jin frowned. Are you saying the Phoenix was alive? Soare hesitated. Maybe not alive like us, but it responded to intent. It protected us because we asked it to. The assistant stared at the glowing fragment. Then maybe it's still listening. On the surface, Captain Kong Min-soo and his ship, the Daehan, now serve as part of the Earth Guardian fleet. They patrolled the outer edge of the solar system, ensuring no alien forces returned. Most days were quiet, but the crew knew that silence in space could mean danger. Kong had not forgotten the war or the price it took. He carried the names of every lost crewmate written on a small paper in his pocket. One night, the radar officer called out, Captain, we're detecting something beyond Neptune. Unknown energy signature. Kong leaned forward. Show me. The screen displayed a faint signal. Slow, rhythmic pulses, too regular to be natural. Could be Varney's? Asked Ensign Park Jun. Kong studied it carefully. No, it's different. Too stable, too calm. The communication officer turned. Should we report to Earth? Kong nodded. Yes, mark it as a possible contact. We can't take chances. Back on Earth, the signal was analyzed by the Science Council. Soare was invited to the meeting. When the hologram of the data played, her eyes widened. That frequency, it's similar to Phoenix. Admiral Yura leaned forward. You're sure? Yes, it's not Varney's technology. It's older, much older. Han crossed his arms. So something else is out there, and it's watching. The council went silent. Everyone remembered the words at the end of the war. Rumors that something ancient had noticed humanity's fight. Now, it seemed those rumors were true. Weeks later, a strange event occurred. Across the world, people began to see golden lights in the night sky, faint and slow-moving, like drifting embers. The shield's energy was changing. Some said it was weakening. Others said it was transforming. Soare stood at the shore near the Pacific, watching the golden waves shimmer. It's responding, she whispered. Hee-jin looked at her nervously. To what? To something coming, she said. Far beyond the solar system, in a region of dark space, the Varney's fleet was gathering. Commander Tal stood before the massive ship that was still under construction, the Devourer. It was the largest vessel ever built by his people. How long until completion? He asked. 3 months, his engineer replied. Its main cannon can pierce planetary shields. Tal smiled coldly. Perfect. We'll return before their light fades. But Tal wasn't the only one watching. In the same sector, a different fleet was awakening. Ships of a race called the Kaler, ancient beings who had once ruled the stars. Their sensors had recorded the Phoenix burst months ago, and now they sought its source. A Kaler observer turned to his commander. The young species has power far beyond their age. The commander, a tall being made of silver light, replied, Power earned through struggle. Perhaps they are worth speaking to before the destroyers return. On Earth, Admiral Yura received the latest report. Multiple unknown vessels approaching the outer system, not Varney's design. Han frowned. Then who are they? We don't know, she said. They're not attacking, just watching. Kang's fleet was sent to intercept. As the Daehan approached the newcomers, the crew held their breath. On the screen appeared ships unlike any they had seen, smooth, luminous, like flowing glass. Then a voice echoed through their systems, clear and calm. Humans of Earth, we are the Kaler. We witness your defiance. You are not the prey we expected. Kong hesitated, unsure if he should respond. This is Captain Kong Min-soo of the Earth Defense Fleet. Identify your purpose. The voice replied, We came to understand the light you awakened, the one you call Phoenix. Back on Earth, Soare listened to the transmission. Her hand shook slightly. They know about it, she said. They felt it. Admiral Yura authorized an open communication channel. This is Admiral Shin Yura. What do you want from us? The alien voice answered, We want to see if your light can endure. Others are coming, the ones you call Varneys, and they will not come alone. Han looked at Yura. What does that mean? Before she could answer, the transmission ended. The alien ships disappeared into hyperspace. The council was thrown into chaos again. Some believed the Kaler were warning them. Others thought it was a trap. But Yura and Han knew one thing for certain. The shield was fading faster now. Phoenix's protection would be gone in a few months, and the next war would be worse. SORA worked day and night to rebuild the Phoenix system. One night, while alone in the lab, the golden fragment she'd been studying suddenly glowed brighter. She reached out to touch it, and a warm pulse spread through her body. For a moment, she saw visions. Dr. Park standing beside her, smiling. "Ji-hoon," she whispered. His voice echoed faintly in her mind. "It's not over. The Phoenix still listens." Then the light vanished, leaving her trembling and breathless. She ran to her console, recording the readings. "It reacted to me," she said to Heejin the next morning. "It responded to emotion again. That means we can reawaken it." Heejin smiled faintly. "Then we have a chance." But time was running out. In deep space, Commander Tal's fleet finally began its journey back to Earth. The Devourer led the armada, its engines burning blue fire. Tal stared at the stars, his voice cold and steady. "Let's see if the humans still pretend to be polite." On Earth, alarms blared across every city. The shield shimmered weakly, its light flickering. Commander Han stood beside Admiral Yura, watching the readings drop. "The second war is coming," he said quietly. Yura nodded. "Then we'll give them a second warning." The second invasion began quietly. There were no lights, no warnings, only silence before the darkness. Then the stars vanished, blocked by the enormous shadow of the Varnese fleet. The Devourer had arrived, leading thousands of warships toward Earth. Every screen on the planet flashed with alerts as the old fear returned. Commander Han Dae-hyun stood in the Earth Defense Center, eyes fixed on the sky map. "They're here," he said, his voice calm but heavy. Admiral Shin Yura stood beside him, dressed in her combat uniform. "The shield's power is down to 10%, she reported. "Phoenix won't last much longer." Han nodded. "Then we fight until it does." He turned to the communications officer. "Signal Captain Kong. Tell him Earth is counting on him again." Far from Earth, Captain Kong Minsu stood on the bridge of the Daehan, watching the massive alien fleet approach. His crew waited in silence. He thought of every soldier who had fallen during the First War, and the promise he had made never to let humanity fall again. "Target the Devourer," he ordered. "If we're going down, we're taking that monster with us." As the Daehan advanced, the alien ships opened fire. Blue beams cut through the darkness, tearing through human vessels. Explosions lit up the void like dying stars. But Earth's fleet fought back with everything they had: missiles, plasma cannons, and courage. The radio crackled. "Captain Kong, the enemy is breaking through our left flank." "Hold the line," he shouted. "We can't let them reach Earth." Back on the planet, Lee Soare worked frantically in the Phoenix lab. The core fragment pulsed faster than ever, glowing like a heartbeat. "Kong," Heejin monitored the readings. Energy rising. Containment field failing. Soare didn't move away. "No, it's not failing, it's waking up." She placed both hands on the glowing sphere. "You saved us once," she whispered. "We need you again. Please listen." The light grew stronger. Her mind filled with memories, not her own, but from every person who had fought and died. She saw Ji-hoon's face again, calm and proud. "You're not alone," his voice said gently. "Phoenix is made of their will. It listens to humanity's heart." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "Then hear us now," she said. "Protect our world." At that same moment, the Daehan took a direct hit. The bridge shook violently and alarm screamed. Ensign Park Jun yelled, "Captain, we've lost engines." Kong struggled to stay standing. "Aim all remaining weapons at the Devourer. Fire everything." Missiles streaked forward, smashing into the alien supership. The Devourer's shields flickered, but it kept moving. Commander Tal smiled cruelly. "You've delayed the inevitable," he said. "Earth will burn." Then, without warning, a pulse of golden light erupted from the ocean below. It expanded outward, brighter than the sun. Every human and alien turned to watch as the Phoenix rose again, larger, stronger, alive. The shield reignited, but this time it didn't just defend. It fought back. Beams of pure light shot from Earth's atmosphere, slicing to the enemy fleet like blades. On the Daehan, the crew gasped. "It's the Phoenix!" someone cried. Kong stared in awe. "So you did it." In the Phoenix lab, SORA floated in midair, surrounded by golden energy. The core's power flowed through her, linking her mind with the planet itself. She could feel every heartbeat, Every thought, every human standing together. Han's voice echoed through the network, transmitted through every channel. All units, push forward. The Earth stands united. The fleet regrouped, with Phoenix's energy guiding them. Human ships moved like lightning, firing in perfect sync. The Devourer's hull cracked under the assault. Commander Tal screamed, "Impossible!" They were broken. But the humans kept coming. From deep space, the Kaler watched the battle unfold. One of them turned to their leader. "They are stronger than before." The leader nodded. "Their light has awakened. They have earned their place among the stars." On Earth, Admiral Yura coordinated the final strike. Phoenix has synchronized with the global grid, ready to fire the planet cannon on my mark. Han gave a single nod. "Do it." From orbit to ocean, every weapon on Earth fired together. The Phoenix gathered the energy into one beam, a single golden lance that pierced the heavens. It struck the Devourer head-on, tearing through its core. The explosion was blinding, spreading across the alien armada. One by one, their ships disintegrated into dust. Silence followed. The stars returned. Captain Kong leaned against his chair, exhausted. "It's over," he whispered. Han's voice came through the comm. "You did well, Captain. All of you did." Down in the lab, SORA slowly floated back to the ground. The golden light faded, leaving only a warm glow around her hands. Jean ran to her side. "You're alive." SORA smiled weakly. "Phoenix is quiet again, but it's still here." Later, humanity gathered to rebuild once more. The Kaler made peaceful contact, offering knowledge instead of conquest. Earth was no longer seen as prey. It was now a force respected across the galaxy. The words of final transmission from Earth were broadcast to every known world. "Stop attacking, or we'll stop pretending to be polite." Generations later, children would look up at the golden sky and ask their parents about the day the Earth glowed. And the answer was always the same. Humanity learned that courage and unity could turn even the darkest night into light. And somewhere deep beneath the ocean, the Phoenix core pulsed once more as if smiling.